Greetings, Springer listeners, on the air TV listeners or viewers on my podcast here, Facebook friends, and of course, YouTube followers or subscribers. This is a serious issue I'm gonna put out there. And I to tell my experiences as a lab rat for aliens, or the Greys, whatever, or the reptilians. All started when it was like 6 or 7 years old. I was told by my mother to get my 2 sisters inside so we could eat dinner. Dinner was ready. As I went out the door, it was a windy, kind of stormy, lightning type of atmosphere. As I walked up the street, I see my 2 sisters motionless, looking at an object in the sky, but not in the sky. It was grounded in this field near here. As I tried to talk to them, but they were not talking back. They were mesmerized by this object. And so I looked at it, flashing lights, glowing. And the next thing I knew, I was walking down my road towards my house, pitch black at night. So I arrived about 2 hours later, and my 2 sisters were at my house, and my mother and father were worried. I said, "Where were you?" I said, "I don't know." And then the next thing I recalled the craft. And recall what happened to me, really. And it was a mirrored kind of metal with meadows around a typical UFO flying saucer ship. Although it was kind of big, a bit bigger than a couple houses in the neighborhood. So, after that, I had a bad case of chickenpox, which was the worst thing people had ever seen. I was in 2nd grade, and I could not go to school until the end of the year, so I was homeschooled, and then came to 3rd grade, and I was into comic books and reading comics and all. And then I noticed we had a new branch principal took the place of the one who retired. And all around him was always these couple men in black sunglasses and black suits. And all of a sudden, in 3rd grade, my teacher told me I was wanted outside for the vice principal, who looked at me, knelt down, and told me I was special and was going to be part of this special class if I wanted to. It was kind of recreational class, people, children playing and all, dodgeball, basketball, and they had a trampoline set up. So I was met by a guy named Gary, who wanted to go on a trampoline. They said, no, we gotta do these studies, whatever. They put me in this one room with one chair, and he was in a chair, and with this great big machine, looking like a eye testing machine. But when I went to go look through it, I don't remember what I was shown at all. Nothing. That was what I saw in that viewer scope, whatever, rings any bells to me. Anyway, I was like that for like 4 or 5 weeks, the course, whatever, after school thing I did. And at the end of the course, I told them, I want to do the trampoline, And so when everybody else was gone, I was alone at the end of the courses and all. Whatever they were doing to me, I was able to use a trampoline. And then they notified my mother my brother that I was supposed to be, and I was invited to be in this public broadcasting system. Boom. About physical business. Because I was a skinny lad, and I never got into sports or anything like that. So my mother signed the papers to do this filming on this, and when I got to this place, the gymnasium, it was a 7 sets of desks lined up, and there was people in black suits and black sunglasses. Most of them were men, one woman, leather-haired, big-haired woman, I remember. And it was supposed to be a camera, but it was not a camera like I've ever seen in my life. It was a kind of machine that had a circular lights around it and one green light in the middle. So as I was set to go underneath this so-called camera, there was 5 of us, including me. 5 of us were subjected to this. What kind of machine it was, I do not know. But as the one girl did their poses, laying on the floor. We were not standing up, we were laying on the floor doing poses. So when I came up with the last ones, I could feel helping my body using like radiation. I feel now on doing x-rays and stuff, and it was more intense than that. So it was turned on my side of my back, of my whatever, and as these people in the black suits and sunglasses were running jotting notes down. And my mental work area, of course, I was exposed to this whatever in this machine once more, and I wish I didn't remember what the last session he told me that don't forget what he's seen there. And wish I forgot it, and I never remembered whatever they did to me. So, he had a football, drew me a football, make a pass around it. Elementary school walls, you know. He said, you like football? I said, no, not really. And he said, you will like football. And I said, all right. And he said, look to see me when you're 42 years old. 42? I said, 42? I'm not 32. He said, all right, Ian. He's all right, but he made 42 years old. And then I've never seen him again, but they gave me an unusual amount of shots, vaccinations, every other week for like 2 months. I didn't understand at the time. So 1 year later, I grew. I really grew. I was a skinny lad. Like my brother was skinny. But all of a sudden, I ballooned to 100 pounds or more than my weight was. And 4th grade, I was like 220 pounds. For my small size. I didn't eat an enormous amount of food to be like that. I was kind of exercising, doing things, but I was not muscular at all. So down the line, I started working for my father at 13 years old. I got in somewhat shape, muscular-wise, and for a while I worked on the table during the summer times, doing the garbage collection for 12 or 14 hours a day sometimes. I was not making any money really there, but I was a job, and I got used to working, and at the age of 16 years old, I wanted to quit school. So I cut classes for a couple months, even sitting in the cold weather outside of the Old Crest Park. And all of a sudden I was confronted by a truant officer and taken into the office. And the Vice Principal Burgess, I think it was his name, took me to track, and it was football players practicing and all. And I was on my trim uniform was barely fit me, you know. There was not a big enough trim uniform to fit me right. So he wanted me to run the hurdles. But I did. I only knocked over a couple, you know, trying to run as fast as I could, and And he wanted me to join the football team. And so I went home. And my parents ended up on me, because in class they said they agreed to let me sign out of school to go to work. And before that, I did play tackle, whatever, football with friends in the neighborhood, in this field near here. And nobody could get me down. It was like, people were dragging me. I was dragging people, like, the whole team dragging them toward the goals, and touchdown every time. And one person got mad at me, and, because I was doing so well. And he, started to pick on my friend. My friend's friend at this time, Smokey. And I, got him mad, and then trying to fight him. And I, got enraged. And actually, jumped off the ground. Like, at least it was like 7 feet. Something, extra human on me. And it was like my destiny. I could change my destiny right then. A crowd, he ran out in the house, neighbor's house to avoid me. And my parents, cheered me on. But the thing is, they've all seen that it was not human for me to jump so high. And I was over the years when I was working at a trash rat and all, I was doing like gymnast type of things. Like, I slipped off the truck one time, but was heading for a bunch of rocks. So did the Captain America flip to avoid the rocks and landed on my feet. Smokey was working with me in the trash brand, and he's seen it. I said, "Whoa, man, that was pretty cool." He said, and things like that happened to me. One time was, as I worked in a trash ride, I was, gearing up to become a furniture store. Not before that, it was go to work in Westinghouse as a janitor. But I sprained 3 fingers, could not even do the dexterity test. But I had taken school equivalency test to become the part of this defense company, Westinghouse. And then I almost did average work on the high school test, but one test they gave me was geometrics. It was 50 questions. I had an answer and a number. And I would look at them. It was like a game to me, I was going through every question. It was geometry signs. I had a form on my brain and put the sample what they should look like. And an hour later, I had 48 questions done. Almost finished the test. And they pulled me to the side and said, "No, Mr. White, you do too good on dexterity test, but he had 48 questions out of 48 questions right. So he's the label still geometric genius, was they were impressed with for some reason. So I like 3 months later, they let me take the dexterity test, and I was able to pass it and become part of Westinghouse defense. And I seen the stealth fighter. People were, it was known, you know, my model of it. They were working on at the model shop they had there. I was a janitor, and I did a course for soldering, so I became a coil miner. And then when they laid up a bunch of people, I was gonna get laid up, but I had a chance to go to school for regular electronics, which I barely passed, but it was 81 people that took a course. There was only 21 people that passed. And he told me, you know, he could have failed you with this one board, but we need you, you know. So I was able to be part of the soldering under the microscope for a couple years before I was laid off. And then I became 10 months later, I became a modular furniture installer, installing cubicles for government places. In the first place I worked as the U.S. Treasury. I did a National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. No, I worked there. And then I worked everywhere. I worked at a Naval Service Warfare Center and all kinds of places. Pentagon, I went to many a time. FBI, CIA, you know, any place I could get government clearance, because I was a defense worker, I guess. But one instance was unusual to me. Usually I was escorted everywhere, but in the CIA building in Langley, they wanted me to go to this one floor, take the elevator to this one floor, and teach these CIA agents all out their cubicles, you know, to out of pull the cubicle, which didn't make sense to me because I was not a senior person there, and it didn't make sense to me that I had no escort there either, which means even the escorts was not you know, such I didn't see what I was doing in there. And they looked at me like with amazement. The same amazement that the one vice principal in 3rd grade, you was only there for a month before it got a new person, which made me realize he was not a vice principal at all. Put part of the men in black, you know. And you know, it was really experience was missing time. one day I was driving my car, and it was kind of approaching, all night I was approaching the sunrise, but it was amazing time. I remember a huge UFO, like a Death Star looking thing in the field, operating in the field, and I didn't know what to think about it. And then I had a stroke. At 40 years old. Was took away most of my brain damage from it. I could tell the way I talk what happened to me. But I really, it was a difficult experience for me. When I was privileged to remember things I forgot. When this missing time experience became reality to me. The way I remembered the graves, taking the little graves and leading me along the field there, into the field where this breakfast UFO was. Went to the ship, 2-story ship, went up the steps. It was other kids in the neighborhood with me too. It was not only me, And I remember being put on a table and they stuck needles in me and all. The big craze, the ones that experiment on people. So I remember that somewhat. And I remember part of what I was experienced as 3rd grade with the machines and what happened to me. The way of being experimented on. And I'm still experimenting on now, when I go to doctors and all. When I final doctors' visits in Baltimore City, where Utah Street, talking to the doctors who worked on me. You see, you remember me? And the one he was taking the place of the doctor I normally had there. And I said, yeah, I remember you. He worked on me. He told me I was going to live for a long time. I was worried about dying. He said I would live for a long time. Was strange to me. And I developed these psoriasis when I was given metformin for the first times and Lipitor too. But you don't want to admit that, new doctors do. But people talk about David Icke when he says about reptilians and all. Well, my skin don't look right. This looks reptilian to me, or what a gray would look like if he were human. And it's an enormous amount of psoriasis I got. And people look at it, didn't know what to make of it. So right before I became part of the Kaiser Permanente, I was by current dermatologist was the last visit with them. And he told me that he could not give me any pills for this condition because it will give me a stroke. And he looked at, I said, my knee was one of the only places on my body that had the psoriasis. Very closely with a light. And he could see his kind of scaly, looks like what a lizard skin looks like. And all of a sudden, looked up at him with a flash of a second. His eyes turned reptilian, and his face clammed up, like what I saw in videos. People during reptilian in front of the cameras. Justin Bieber was one. You could see him. Many newscasters during reptilian in the middle of programs. I was face to face with that, but it didn't scare me at all. I feel a kindred spirit towards this. My past, rewind back to where I used to have a dating life, you know. I was open on with one first love, when she broke up. We broke up with each other many times in the 6 years time we were together. So sometimes I was with somebody else. And one girl I was one night stand, being there partying in a motel room. He scared. She said I was turning, and she was all cocaine too. I was turning into a reptilian or something. I'm turning into the devil, she said. Turning into the devil. So she was kind of scamming me anyway. We returned to the motel room, and in the middle of her doing her thing, you know, giving down on me, whatever. She looked up at me and screamed bloody murder, naked as a jade bird. Grabbed some of her clothes and ran out the door. Screaming in the middle of this motel parking lot, and she got into a car with somebody and took off. It was all planned out by them, but and then the second girl, blonde, I was messing around with, and not be my girlfriend's back, because lots of said I was we were broke up at the time. Each time this happened, and one girl I became involved with for 3 months, and she also said in the middle of sex I was turning into the devil, and I didn't know what to make of it at all. And then several times I wake up with mysteries. and it looked like my leg was breaking. It was in pain, cramped up, and it was coming to the side like it was morphing into something else. And took all my willpower to defend it. I was in pain for a day or so. I had many skin like skin in a circle was taken out of my leg or thigh or different parts of my body. And like it was being experimented on. And one of the last instances I had was this arm. And I did carry groceries, too many groceries, which I felt doing, but it was like 3 days later, I was in agony in bed, and I woke up like this, and I've been fighting this ever since. I seem to remember being dragged down a corridor by something inhuman in nature. But could have been the Greys, could have been reptilians. You know, for what I did, the reptoid sagas were, I guess the aliens got new sense of humor, you know? And I believe to be true that I've been experimenting on most of my life, and skin don't look even to me. I use moisturizers and all, and a couple of people say they had relatives that had a similar skin condition. I went to Kaiser Permanente for a reason. They refer to the NSA. And they say employees, that's their provider. Was my 2 nieces belong to the NSA. So I figured I will try it there in order to get help. And my dermatologist there told me that she didn't understand, but nobody would give me medication for my psoriasis, so they slowly put me on methotrexate, which I took for almost a year. I discontinued it because of my diabetes. Those enzymes are running into my kidneys and liver now. This is, trying to combat this diabetes as good as I can, and really been doing. They just gave me a steroid shot on my shoulder 2 days ago, and told me it's going to take 5 or 6 days for the take full effect. I was doing exercises on my arm, leaning over on a chair, and doing pendulum circles on my arm. I'm trying to creep up the wall with my left arm, but kills me. It was a gnat on my arm. I snapped it for my left arm, and I was in agony today because of it. I'm not right. Diabetes is out of control, but I monitor my blood sugar now. more than I did. So hopefully I can whatever. The main thing when after my stroke, my sister was living there, and she was downstairs saying she had a panic attack in the middle of the night. So she took her to the hospital, so I was alone there. All of a sudden I woke up with this funny feeling in the atmosphere reminding me of the experience I had as a little kid with Mr. Time and a UFO. And all of a sudden, at the middle, I seen a feeble light come down in the middle of the grass right there. So next thing I know, I was in bed, and my feet were dirty. But I remember I was mesmerized, but I remember a couple things I experienced. It was a triangular crap, and when I was taken aside by this transport beam, whenever it was a bunch of other UFO craps on Air Force fighter craps. It was a bunch of people in like a military outfits, like in Army, Navy, whatever, and there was craze on the run and different kinds of species of aliens. And I remembered this. It was not really, it seemed like a dream, but I woke up with dirty socks and dirty feet. Like I was in a field or whatever in my yard, and it was weird because my sister had a panic attack. She had to be taken to the hospital by her kids. Wow, this happened to me. So I don't know what I am set to do, why I was chosen like I was. I feel chosen to do great things, but because I am stagnated by most people, and people don't really think I'm full of shit, but I'm not. And I know people don't really want to trust me at all, but I did become a reporter. I signed up for Washington DC's UFO network. So that'd be good on DCMUFON. You can see me. I got a profile there. I haven't done anything to it. I'm gonna order some MUFON t-shirts and that and all, especially when I can. And join MUFON. I told them my story. Whatever it happened to me, whether people realize it or not, I'm not full of crap, as I said. And if you ever listens to this, understand that we all have been experimented on, although we don't remember it or not. I'll try to you guys never sold us down the river to the reptilians or the craze. That's it. Take care. Peace out.